across the West Bank, where dozens of Palestinians yesterday clashing with Israeli security forces during a so-called Day of Rage on the issue of Israeli settlement expansion. I-24 News correspondent Daniel Tzemach has more.
Violent protests rocking the West Bank. Palestinians taking to the streets in what is known as a Day of Rage, burning effigies of the leaders of Israel and the United States. The Palestinian streets raging over an announcement made over a week ago.
We believe that what we've done today is we've recognized the reality on the ground. We've now declared that settlements are not per se illegal under international law.
The U.S. announcement was immediately condemned by all leading Palestinian factions. Some Palestinian leaders warned the decision would have severe consequences.
The U.S. decision is not only a threat to the existing world order, but also a challenge to multilateralism. This is not only a threat to Palestine, but to all countries in the world.
Washington did not formally announce the Israeli settlements were legal, but rather that after a legal analysis, it was concluded that settlements are not in violation of international law. But nuances aside, Palestinians see it as another American move adopting an Israeli position. A U.S. State Department official tells I-24 News that the U.S. State Department respects the Palestinians' exercise of their freedom of expression and right to peacefully assemble, but condemn incitement to violence and call on all parties to take actions that contribute to creating an atmosphere conducive to negotiation of a lasting and comprehensive peace. But the decision, like other U.S. announcements in the past, is again fanning the flames of violence.
With us now as well, Mohammad Najib. He is a Palestinian analyst joining us in Ramallah. Sir, thank you for being with us. Mohammad, do you think there will be more days of rage, especially if, as predicted, there may be Palestinian elections in a few months? And could these days of rage get even more violent in the months ahead?
Yes, the PLO factions, in particular Fatah movement, has decided to react to a Trump and U.S. administration policy that consider the settlement activities in the West Bank as non-violation for the international law. So yesterday we witnessed thousands of demonstrators across 5 cities of the West Bank, major cities of the West Bank, and also the race for tomorrow. The Fatah leaders yesterday said those demonstrations will continue, the protestation will continue. It's not just a one-day week, because they are upset with the current U.S. administration that match the Israeli government policies toward the Palestinians, which will prevent them from having a future Palestinian state in the 67 borders.
But while there were instances of violence and clashing yesterday, a lot of analysts are saying they were surprised that this was not a bigger event. This could have been a lot larger, but it wasn't, even among the young people. Why not?
Yeah, I spoke to some Palestinian official sources before the start of the demonstrations and what is the purpose of those. They said our main purpose is to convey the message to the American administration, to the West, that we are stand against the U.S. administration policies toward the Palestinians that started by the relocation of the embassy to Jerusalem, recognition of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, and finally recognition the settlement as non-violation of the international law. So they don't want to send people to the clash points. But during those speeches, I saw someone calling on demonstrators to go to the clash points, as I was at the DCO near Beit El here in Ramallah, and at some other clash points in across the West Bank.
Okay, so they did go to some of these clash points. Mohammad.